As far as the weekly schedule goes, something I did in my presentation to Eric and the guys before getting the job was, I'm a big believer on the players having a Sunday and a Monday off. For 2 days after a game, they're still in a state of fatigue. And what's really, really important is that you don't get them in travelling an hour and a half, 2 hours in traffic, really nothing session because they're still fatigued, and then send them home again because mentally that's draining. So we give them 2 days away from the place, which is great if you win because they can't wait to come on Tuesday, but if you lose, it also gives them a bit of time to clear their head. They then look forward to coming in on a Tuesday, not dreading it. And then we go normally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we have a 4-day build-up. That gives you a Tuesday and a Wednesday as 2 intense days, far enough away from either Saturday to do your work without fatigue carrying into the weekend games. So you get probably a better working week anyway. Mentally, fatigue-wise, that 2 days on the trot they can have off after a game, the ones who play, it's quite nice. It's 2 consecutive days. It gets them away from the place and helps them out. On a daily basis, we have 9 o'clock the injuries have to report and be in by for treatment with Stuart Douglas. Stuart's very good at letting me know very, very early who I've got, who I haven't got. Normally I know the night before. I plan a lot of my sessions the night before, the week before, the day before. But you need to know your numbers to get it spot on. So he's very, very good at letting me know. Between 8:30 and 10 there's breakfast. You see a little breakfast trolley there that we brought in. That's turned out to be a very good thing because the one thing I noticed when I first came was that players were turning up a little bit later and going home a little bit earlier. And this way, we've given them a reason to get up early, miss the traffic, get in early, and then they can all sit together and have a bit of breakfast and chat about I'm a celebrity or whatever's on the telly, give or take. So they have that bit there. During this time, Jason or one of his sports scientists that we have as internships, they go around, which I'll show you in a minute, with a laptop. And the players, while we're having a bit of breakfast, just put some numbers in on the laptop saying whether they slept well or they didn't, which is called a wellness report. And normally by about 10:15, Jay goes through it and the scores kind of flag up anyone that's looking a bit fatigued or is given a very, very low score for whatever reason. Jay might say, listen, Jack Midson's hasn't slept well for a couple of nights, hasn't been eating well, feels a bit rough. We might have to have a look at him, and it just helps you to, right, we might have to dip him out when we start doing the fitness work if he is ill, because we're going to run a risk of an injury. Normally around this sort of time now, they go into prehab down in the squash court, which I'll show you. Prehab is specific exercises that, to be fair, I couldn't do. I wouldn't know the actual ins and outs of everything Jay likes to do, but it's very, very complicated as far as they've got to have certain lines and body shape and whatnot, and it's to fire up your glutes, because if you don't fire your glute muscles up before training, your hamstrings take the load. But if your glutes are fired up and really ready to work, because they're a muscle that's quite dormant if you don't get them going, then the hamstring takes even more bearing. So it's a big thing on limiting injuries, prehabilitation therefore in the name. We put training back last season to 11 with London traffic and whatnot, just gives them a little bit more time to prepare for training in the morning. Normally we're done by and in by 1 o'clock. It's normally the times, and Nikki works extremely hard. She has the academy come in, it's normally around 12 for their lunch, so we always have to make sure we're not all turning up at the same time or there'll be no food here. On Tuesdays, normally Tuesday afternoon, they do a lower body weight, so we'll be under 28s. We do under 28s because normally when you're 28 or over, you know your own body. You've spent 6, 7, 8 years in your career, you've got your own exercises, your own routines you've had at different clubs. And at that point, forcing them to start something new, we feel is probably a little bit pointless. Let them maintain their bodies how they've done it through the time. So Jay does a lower body weight session, which I'll come back to later when we talk about the fitness. And on a Thursday at 9 o'clock, he does an upper body session with them. So they get in early on a Thursday, the under 28s, and Jay works in the morning on upper body. Reason for doing lower on a Tuesday is they'll feel the effects of that, and you don't want it on a Thursday. 2 days later, you've got a Saturday game. Their legs are very, very heavy. This board here, Simon Bassey uses for recruitment. He's got a list of all the Conference South fixtures and all the local teams that are in the Conference National. So he's got a list of all their fixtures. He then plans 2 weeks in advance, puts down the fixtures, and then puts, so Steve Johnson's one of our scouts, Bass will cover that one, you know, Ashley Bays is covering that one, etc, etc. Bob Mapleson's another one of our scouts. He takes a photo of this, sends it to David. David then books the tickets for the games, and we know 2 weeks in advance, and he redoes this, and he looks through the fixtures, we've got a plan for our recruitment this season, and hopefully we'll try and hit as many of these sort of games as we can to make sure we've got them all in. And then he's made some notes just up there on some of the players that, you know, if somebody's talking about one, we log it all in. Team sheets get logged onto this computer, so we know everything, and then we start making some notes on players that we want to watch again a second time, etc, etc. So, and then the board behind there is just a general board there where we've got our fixtures in blue, the under-21 fixtures in red, and they've just faded a bit in green, just a couple of the youth, the under-18 games, so that at a glance you can just quickly see, oh, they got a game on Saturday, know where it is, so we just we put that up. But yeah, it's a good, better working environment than the office we had down there. So, any questions? Trying to work out who we're going to sign now, eh? Hence the mats and the foam rollers and stuff are still out. So Jay will get them in here around 20 past for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, go for a range of exercises to activate all their sort of muscle groups so that when they go out to do the warm-up they're ready to go. So they do this every day without fail. Trying to, if you actually put it into some statistics, if you was a big club, if we was a big club paying, let's just say £5,000 a week, £10,000 a week to players, and you're losing 5 or 6 of them players for months at a time due to hamstring muscle strains, you know, that is, you know, you're 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month going out the door with no productivity from it. So the prevention of injuries, when you put it in the context for clubs that pay that sort of money, is massive. You know, obviously at our end it's all relative to what our budget is, etc. But it's still, if you've got, you know, if you've got some of your 3 of your better players. When I arrived last season, I think we had about 8 or 10 injured. Now, if you put that into a wage category and say for 2 months you haven't got that 8 or 10 players, that's a lot of money that's going out the door with nothing really coming back from it. And ultimately, you haven't replaced them players with other players. So we're working hard. It's not an exact science, but we're working really hard to limit the injuries we can. We can't do nothing about Chris Arthur breaking his ankle in the game, or Charlie Sheringham getting smashed and being out for 2 months, but you can do something about how many hamstrings you do get. The boys are working on elements of our game on Saturdays, switching play, getting the wingers into practice. They've done a lot on defending for the first part of the morning, and now it's about how we play when we get the ball. So it's a conditioned game to get the best out of it and almost force the players into doing what your philosophy and what your direction is on a Saturday. So at the moment they've upped it the last couple of games, and they're getting better and better with their decision making.
What do you call this session?
It's basically just switching play. It's a game that you condition the game to play with width, and you've got, when you do go down the sides, you've got to go down the sides quick. And we've added a condition now where you can have a cross at the end of it, so people have to attack the cross as well. So it's elements of our play that are big parts of our game.
Take him on, get him!
Oh.
Can't give it your shit, baby!
Oh dear.
Did that take a bobble? Looked like it. Didn't think we could have got it that high. What was it I said about
George!
See that one? Bobbled up and went.
Recognise if he's there! Lay out the goal! Lay out the goal! Lay out the goal, Reece! Get in, George! Get in, George! Pelly, get him in! Move it quicker! Quicker! Well done, Chen. Yes!
Straight away, if we're down this side, the opposition will all shuffle across to stop you getting through this pole. So the best way of you scoring is to try and come back out and get a quick switch of play to the other side to get an attack through the other side. So it's hence a switch play game, but it's an element of what we try and do on games. You might see us, Sammy Moore, try and open up and hit a diag. And if our wide players don't get their transition right and get wide, they're not going to have that option, and it's things we work on a Saturday. What we've added to it, normally you should be able to just run it through a pole to get a goal, but we've added now the goals at the end, and once they go through the pole, they can cross and finish. But initially, to score the first goal, they have to get through the pole. The second goal will come from a cross and a finish. Now, if the teams then defend the wide areas, you put a middle goal in. And in a game, if you stretch their back four like that and they get stretched in the middle of the pitch, go through the middle of them and try and score. So it's all relative to a Saturday.
Good, keep it in, Oranges, keep it in! Don't go in there, don't go in there! Not too hard, too early, Yes, yes! Good, shake Oranges! Stay where you are. Good, stay where you are, George. Stay where you are. Brilliant. Well done. Yeah. Brilliant. So what we done, Blacks? What we done? Kept it. What they done, the Oranges? Sat in, all of a sudden, sucked it all over. Yeah, sucked them all over, worked it well, drawn the midfield players in. Now we talk about what the game is. Yeah, big switch sports, brilliant run. Yeah, Reece has got to track him. Got to track him, Reece, haven't you? Yeah, start going.
Join us now, I'm delighted to say, is two members of the Blue and Yellow Club, Harry Galley and Alex Mitchell. First of all, Harry, how have you found today and being behind the scenes with the squad?
Well, it's been fascinating. I was lucky enough to go to the pre-season friendly in Monza, where Neil gave a similar session for the fans there, and that was very interesting. But today, even more so, because he's taken us behind the scenes, and the sort of statistical analysis they do of the players and the matches, well, obviously you're aware they do it, but to see it in such detail, well, it's very impressive and really fascinating.
Yeah, bringing in Alex. When did you become involved in the club, and how have you found the experience so far?
Yeah, I mean, the Blue and Yellow Club was set up the season before last in the summer, so it's been sort of a season and a half now. It's been really good to be involved in. We've got the sort of social side of things, some of the dinners that we've had, and also we've had a chance to contribute to this, has been featured before, contribute to the relegation battle last season with our donation towards Coach and Harry Bell and stuff. So it's been really good to be involved in, and it's just been able, like Harry said, been able to see different sides of the club and behind the scenes. It's been really interesting. Yeah,
and when you see Neil make a signing like that, it must give you that extra bit of pride that you are contributing in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, obviously the great thing about this club is a lot of the fans contribute in their own ways and things, but to actually see a physical material side to your contributions and to see it in a player form is something that's sort of really quite exciting to watch.
And Alex, you're not from round here plainly, so why Wimbledon, and are you coming down every game, are you?
I get to most of the games. I actually live out in West London in Uxbridge, so it's not too far to travel anymore, but originally from the northwest, and started following the club when my dad took me to Anfield as a kid, and I decided that I didn't want to support the team in red and pick the other side.
I mean, we've obviously made some donations. As you know, we're very involved in the signing Harry Powell last season. We call him our man, and of course he made a major contribution contribution towards the end of last season, so we feel good about that. Exactly what will happen this year, well, that's up to Neil. I don't think we've spoken to him recently about that, but I'm sure when the time comes he'll have a word with us, and the money will be well spent as it was last year. We've had a great setback recently, as you know, with Martin was really the brains behind, and his enthusiasm and leadership led to the club, and he's a great loss. I'm not sure how we can possibly replace him, but yeah, I mean, obviously we're always looking for new members. The more members we can get, the better, and we need to retain the present membership. I think we've got about 25 members at the moment, which I think is more than we planned for in the early stages anyway. So we need to retain our present membership, and days like today are contributing towards that, because the members feel they're getting their money's worth, as it were, with a day like this.